Welcome to the place beneath the fog, to the mossy cradle where sarcasm meets softness, and broken glitter still sparkles. And of course, where feelings come not to be solved, but to be held. Tonight, the swamp is quieter than usual. Not empty, not still, just listening. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, it's your turn to be heard. So lay down. Let the world drip off your shoulders like swamp rain. Let your thoughts crawl into the mud and take a nap. Let your breath arrive, gentle, unnoticed, but sacred. Because tonight isn't about fixing anything, it's about staying. And about remembering what it means to be here. Even cracked, especially cracked. Let's begin. The swamp had moods, and today's mood was delicately unstable. Not catastrophic, not furious. Just vaguely on edge. The kind of edge you don't see until it frays. You know, that kind of tension that settles in your bones and makes even the frogs blink slower. The sadness flowers sniffled in the background. Not dramatically, but rhythmically. Like they signed a peace treaty with seasonal depression or something. The frogs exchanged cautious side eyes, their croaks subdued. Even the mist, usually known for its flare, toned down its drama by a full 10%, opting instead for a low-hanging swirl that hovered like an unfinished apology. There was a shimmer of something in the air. Tentative hope, maybe, but only the kinds that came in scentless candles labeled possibly healing. It smelled like maybe, looked like probably not, and felt like a shrug. Right beneath the motivational stump, scorched, splintered, moss-patched, but still somehow standing like a metaphor that refused to die, sat Sparklehoof. Mane deflated, like a party steamer after the wrong kind of party. Confetti still stuck to his cheek. Not festive, just stubborn. Horn cracked, glitter lined, gently pulsing with vulnerability. He sipped lukewarm tea from a chipped mug that read, "Feelings, the other F word." It was also more sediment than tea now. But he held it like it still held him. "Do you think I'll need magical glue?" he asked, voice barely above the rustle of anxious moss. Morty Kitten, half sunken in mud and half consumed by the existential weight of dampness, replied without lifting his gaze. "Only if you're planning to go back to who you were." Sparklehoof tilted his head. A long beat. Then, "I'm not." His voice didn't tremble, It settled, like dust after something sacred. And in CareCat terms, that was basically a hug. A soft, glitter-crusted, non-committal, emotionally seismic hug. Above them, a single firefly blinked twice, then gave up. Even bugs knew when a moment was too delicate to touch. Nearby, Grimlin had set up a craft table. It was aggressively glittery, like someone had emotionally blackmailed a unicorn into vomiting. The sign, written in hand-lettered despair, read, "Rage journaling and decorative screaming." One bin held shredded emotional timelines, complete with LOL and "This aged poorly." Another, screen-activated crayons, which only release pigment at a certain decibel of existential crisis. The glitter, scented like betrayal, of course, a hint of abandonment issues, and 3 unspoken goodbyes. Espresso sat hunched over a blotchy page, coloring furiously with her trauma berry marker, muttering, "Therapeutic coloring is a lie created by the same people who invented icebreaker games." Each stroke of the marker looked like a minor breakdown in progress. A sadness glitter cloud poofed above her head, drifted sideways, then politely exploded. No one questioned it. It was Wednesday after all. Sulk Shadow didn't speak. He never did during Swamp Art Hour. He wove apology moss into silent red. Symbols of guilt, repair, and things that would never be mailed. He didn't make eye contact, he just worked. One red for each sigh he didn't exhale. The entire scene had the feel of a slightly derailed grief retreat hosted by emotionally unstable fungi. Yet, somehow, it worked. Change had arrived, not with a fanfare, not wrapped in progress quotes, just slightly soggy, wobbling in mismatched shoes and whispering, "I'm not okay, but I'm showing up." And really, that was enough for now. Stillmourne didn't walk in. She arrived. Like dusk, like truth, or like someone who stopped asking the swamp to be kinder and instead learned to float. Her mug, faintly glowing and chipped at the lip, read, "Not today, silence." Not a threat, but a boundary. She moved like someone who had drowned in feeling, floundered, sunk, and eventually floated. Not because it got easier, but because she stopped apologizing for taking space. She stood near Sparklehoof, not beside him, just close enough that if he needed a reason to stay, he could borrow hers. They looked at each other, They nodded once. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't forgiveness. It was recognition. Like two trees bowing in the same storm. And something flickered. A moth in Stillmourne's belly symbol. Sparklehoof's cracked horn blinked in response. They were still broken, still tired, and still wrapped in sarcasm and slightly expired glitter glue. But they were here, and no one ran, not this time. And then something shifted. Not loudly, not like thunder or grief. It arrived like a memory you didn't mean to remember. Like a scent you hadn't smelled in years, and suddenly it's everywhere. The swamp held its breath. Not in fear, not in awe, just readiness. Above them, the clouds curled inward, slowly. Not crying, just remembering. Their edges softened, like a story folding into itself. Below, a hum began to rise from the moss. Not a sound, a vibration, subtle and intimate. Like the bones of the swamp were trying to speak in a language that hadn't been heard in centuries. It moved through the roots, into the puddles, and across the surface of the sadness flowers, who instinctively turned towards it. Morty Kitten's tail twitched once, sharply. His whiskers twitched too, involuntary, as if responding to something ancestral. His voice, when it came, cracked like old paper left too long in sun and silence. That's not a storm. That's something waking up. Stillmourne didn't flinch. She just breathed. A slow inhale, like drawing in an old friend's name. I felt this before, she whispered. Long before velvet, before glitter, before grief had glitter in it. Her voice didn't echo, it settled. Like a blanket placed over a shaking shoulder. And then the silence grew thick. Not heavy, just dense with meaning. Like a bread held in a jar, waiting to be opened by someone brave enough to feel. And even the frogs were silent. And the mist stilled. The swamp didn't answer. It listened. Because even swamps know the first emotion isn't rage. It isn't joy. It isn't even sorrow. It's the crack before feeling. The inhale before confession. The flicker before languages remember what it was made for. And maybe, just maybe, we're ready to feel again. Not perform it, not narrate it, just feel. In the background, a single moss puff released its spores, gently, as if offering its own exhale to the moment. Stillmourne nodded, not to anyone in particular, but to the ache itself, and that was enough. Twinkleton stumbled in, panting, glowing. Bits of fog clung to his fur like frantic whispers. "It's here!" he gasped between breaths. "The first emotion, the one we buried, the one we swore wouldn't return." Behind him, trees recoiled, not out of fear, but recognition. Soil cracked as if the ground itself remembered something it had tried to forget. Memory muck bubbled up, thick with regret and echoes of forgotten lullabies. Nell and Kitty stood still, so still. She whispered, "Pre-feeling energy. It's buzzing, like a memory knocking before it breaks the door." Stillmourne nodded slowly, not in agreement, but as if bowing to an old truth resurfacing. "The echo," she said. Her voice was a thread pulled from some deeper fabric. It didn't stomp. It reflected. It mirrored. It shimmered with half-felt things and emotions that hadn't been processed properly. A mirror not made out of glass, but of something unspoken. Sasburn saw her mother's flames, not just the fire, but the silence that followed. Doomboss heard "You're too much" looped in every pitch his body ever rejected. Morty Kitten stared into eyes he once trusted, his own, before sarcasm became his survival technique. No one screamed. They all just took a breath. Shallow, trembling, as if breathing too loudly might shatter what they finally saw. The echo beast shimmered, shifted, not attacking, but revealing. It showed them the parts they trimmed away to survive. Catatonic blinked. Once, twice, and then, "We can't fight it. We have to feel it, all of it, even the ugly parts we dressed in glitter." Grimlin howled. It cracked mid-note, didn't harmonize. It ached. Not musically, honestly. Like the sound of grief in a karaoke bar. Anxiety sobbed until her whiskers stuck to her nose and her eyeliner just gave up. She didn't hide it. She didn't even apologize. Gloompur moved forward, deliberately, reverently. She placed a paw on the tar where the echo beast emerged, her voice a lullaby drenched in reality. You're here because we never let you in. And the echo beast paused, then trembled. A full body inside out, all the ages you ever were kind of tremble. And then a tear, just one. It fell and it became moss, soft, alive, and forgiving. From the thickest part of the mist she arrived, Queen Velvet. Cracked, glowing wrong, radiating fury stitched with fear. Idiot, she sneered. Her voice flickered like static. That thing, the echo, it created me. You can't fix it. You can't even touch it without falling apart. Stillmourne stepped forward. Her steps were slow, unshaken. I do not want to fix it, she said. A pause followed. Not empty, full of 1,000 unspoken griefs. And then I want to understand it. Velvet's mask didn't just crack, it bent, it breathed. She looked around, not at them, but at herself, and whispered, "Let it in." And for the first time in recorded CareCat history, she actually meant it. And then nothing exploded. The echo beast didn't vanish. It joined. Not erased, not cured, but witnessed. Stillmourne stood. Sparklehoof exhaled. The swamp dramatically sighed. Somewhere a sadness flower bloomed. A frog coughed politely. And you stayed. Even cracked. Well, especially cracked. So let the glitter settle. Let the mud flutter. Let your feelings find moss to rest in. You made it, and that's enough. If this helped you sleep, subscribe, follow, and whisper back next time. We'll still be here. With broken horns, sarcastic compassion, and mugs full of swamp tea. Maybe even some coffee. Good night, wanderer. From the swamp to your dreams.